What's up everyone, Steve here again from RC Tanks and Trucks 24/7. This guy's been going around the internet like hotcakes. It's the, not too sure, there's a fair few different models, WPL, there's Henglong and all that kind of stuff. They make all these military trucks. You know, this one here. But this guy's a little bit different. It's not a military truck even though it has the same picture. It's actually a Toyota Hilux and this one is the kit version. So let's go have a look. Now this one is from GearBest. They have this one on sale at the moment as well at the time of this video, so if you want to go check it out. First up here we have a little instruction manual. This is always handy when it's a kit. There we go there. Alrighty. And yeah, so I think it's exactly the same one as the Ready to Run, but just in a kit form. So let's see what we get. There we got the seat, dashboard, mirrors, little accessories there, door, what are they? Door handles, wipers. Now I know these don't have the best running gear, but this particular Hilux certainly looks the business, that's for sure. They've done a really good job with the scale look of the body itself, even more so than the actual military truck. So there's a body. You can also, you know, if you don't like this colour, spray it because it is a hard plastic, so you can use some of the Cool Tamiya paint or any other plastic paint that you have if you don't like this red colour. Now this has got a lot of the running gear, so let's see what's in here. Oh, heaps of stuff. Got the wheels, tyres obviously, and the tyres, they look exactly the same as the one that's on the military truck. Shocks, they aren't oil filled, that it's got a small spring in there. This guy is a little bit different than the military truck because it does have 4-link suspension like you would see on a rock crawler, so that's pretty cool. Now there's the axles. Now they aren't the best on the military truck. Hopefully I can find a replacement for these guys, and hopefully some vendor will actually make them because it is really popular, and I want to strengthen these guys up and actually use them for crawling. So there's the back of the bed, and obviously this bad boy goes on it like so. More plastic. Here we have the back in. I think the battery sits in this actual little box that sits in the back of the bed, which is pretty cool. It's a nice little idea, kind of hides it away. It's not a C-channel metal frame, but it definitely is metal, that's for sure. And as you can see, it's got a very similar looking I guess profile that you see on all different types of rock crawlers, but at least it's a metal frame. And even though this is you have to build the kit yourself, it does come with the servo. Now that is always good. There we go there. So I haven't taken the military trucks apart, but obviously it's going to be very different to that. There's your little transfer case. Your brushed motor slides on in here just like that, presume, and drives your little setup. Pretty easy, nothing to it. But these do give away over time. Even I've seen some people just drive it for a few times and these crack. So these definitely look the same. I don't think they're any different to the military trucks, but something I'd like to, just for fun. I know it's not really worthwhile, I guess, cost-wise, but just do it up so it actually can crawl. Also metal as well. That guy there, small micro servo. And it also does come with front LED lights, which is pretty cool. The only thing that you need for this, what the hell is that? There's a grease. Now this does not come with an ESC or receiver. That's what you need to supply with this guy. So if you have your own small ESC receiver you want to put in here, that's easy to do. I can even get it out of this guy. If you haven't checked the video, have a look on my channel, last few videos where I've upgraded the ESC, and I've also put a sound system in here, much better. I've also changed the steering servo because the stock ESC, or the stock 2-in-1 ESC receiver that you get in these kits is just like on off like that servo. So I've changed that, put my own little receiver and ESC in there, much better. So I'll end up doing the same with this as well. You also get a bag of hardware, and yeah, that's about it. As you can see, a lot of stuff here. So let's see how long it's going to take to build this guy. And just make sure when you start building, there are several different size screws, as you can see here, and I'll just pull them all out of here. So just double check, the majority of them you'll be using are #1 screws, and there are 70 of these guys. First step requires you, well, it says to build these shocks, but they are already built for you. Okay, first step, you want to put the shocks on the side of the chassis rails, and you want to be using screw #1, and that's it. Don't go too crazy. That's all you need to do. They're on there just like that. The other one goes on the back, obviously, right here, and I'll put those two on and put the other two on, and we'll see how it looks. Alrighty, shocks are all installed. Now next step is to install this cross member. Nothing to it. Obviously you want to make sure that your shocks are on the outside, and it just requires 2 more of these number 1 screws, I believe they're called. Put into here and you are good to go. Now don't expect, you know, the best quality and the best engineering from this. I think a lot of people are liking it because of how scale it looks and also how cheap it is. You know, it's you know, I think it's like $40 something now online, but you can get it much cheaper. Just have a look around. You can also just check out the link I left for you in the description, but there you go. So there's the cross member. Now we also need to install, here we go, so that was a cross member, gearbox shell, steering cover, and some more components at the front. Now I'm going to leave out the steering servo at the moment for all you guys who are interested. That just kind of goes in here, just kind of like that. There we go, and steering horn will come out there, but I'll leave that out later. I'm going to leave the running video and installing some of the other components like the ESC in another video. This one here I just want to show you how it goes together, how simple it is really. So we've got that piece now, and this guy needs to go on top just like that to kind of close this little system up, or this whole little unit up, if I knew which way it goes. But let me look at the instructions. There we go. Alright, let me get 2 more screws and we'll lock it in place. Now we also need to attach the front bumper to this little system right here, and it does have some really nice details. It tells you to put all these together, but it's already attached, like the little lampshade. It's what it's called, the blinker housing, but all that is already pre-installed. But that's what I mean. For the price, I've done a really nice job with the details of it. So that guy is all put on. Everything's attached. Now we can attach it to the main chassis rails here, and yep, it's just as easy as everything else. Just line everything up just like that. Put 2 screws in there. Let me know in the comments if you guys like me doing this type of build series, because yeah, I like them. Kind of interactive to a degree. It's not a live feed or anything, but it's just it's fun. I always like building stuff. Not using these crappy screws though, that's for sure. There we go, just like that. And do you know what? I actually used the wrong screw for that, so there we go. This is the right one. So there we go there. That's the right one, that's the wrong one. So take this guy out and there we go. Put the other one in and the other two on the other side and see how it looks. There we have it. Fairly, you know, it's fairly rigid once everything is put together, but you still need to put the transfer case in and this little protective guard here. So the transfer case comes already built with the 2 drive shafts on the end, and that just kind of slits in, or slots in there, and required 2 more screws to lock it away. One there, and this guy just fits in here as well, just like that, presume, and that will give it a bit more rigidity in the middle as well. There we go. So that's like that, and we require 2 screws here, 1 and 2 to lock it away. Pretty simple. I'm not too sure if I'm going to put the motor in as yet, because I might upgrade that later on. Although they are only, not too sure if you can see in there, but they're only nylon plastic gears, so put something too crazy, you're just going to break something else. So let me get the screws for this one. Now a lot of people have done a lot of these already, because the 1/16 scale trucks are sweet because they're the same scale as the 1/16 scale RC tanks, which I really enjoy. So let me finish the other screws in this and we'll get to the next step. Okay, now we're going to build the axles. They are in 2 halves. There is one for the front and one for the rear. They're slightly different because it's got to carry the steering mechanism, but basically let's just start with the front. Now you can see there's no bearings in here. They're just little bushes and spaces and stuff like that. But you have to make sure that you sit them where they need to be, otherwise it won't really work very well. So it's got little grooves in there which they will sit into. And let me get this one down and I can actually see where these guys are going to go. So one's going to go right there. So one in the right. There we go. They do definitely include this grease here. So I'll lube that up a bit and stop it. And all you need to do is this guy. Okay, once they're together, you have the front and rear. Probably, obviously, there's a pumpkin there that covers the front end, and the other one that has the gear end to make it all work. And you want to use that grease that you get with it just to lube it up a little bit, and you want to just kind of shut them all together, make sure it's all snap fit together nicely, and there we go. As you can see, it's working fine. Then you have these 4 long screws that you just need to put through, and it's saying put through the front of it like that. No issues, don't go too crazy. That's all there is. So the rear and the front, well, they're both exactly the same. As you can see, this one's the front one. It's got the parts here, or the hubs and stuff to carry. Obviously you need to do this for the rear as well. So this is the front one. The rear is the same. I'm not going to bother showing you that as well. So I'll put the 4 in here, do the rear one up, and move on. Okay, both front and rear axles are done. Just like that. Just pay attention to the direction you need to face the front and rear of the axle, and that's it. Easy done. So now we need to hook up the actual steering mechanism with the stub axle here, slide it through this particular part. Just pay attention to the direction that you need to put these in comparison to the input shaft there. What we need to do is like that, open it up because these aren't joined, slide it down, and then you're ready to go. This part will hook it all up later and button it all together. Not going to bother putting any grease in here at all. I might change this later. I just want to put this all together in stock form on the video to show anyone to see how it's, if anyone's interested, to see how it goes all together, which is really simple. There we go. That's it. So as you can actually, it's going to join your 2 sides together. Steering rod is the correct, I guess, terminology. There we go. That is all done. Now we also have the unit here which connects the links all together. So bear in mind there are 2. They look exactly the same though. So all you need to do is this guy sits on top, and I'm looking at the camera and I'm looking at that as well. Okay, all it does, it just sits on just like that. And these ones need number 5 screws, so they are slightly longer. These little guys here, so we'll put them through and they will join this particular unit to the axle and also connect it all together and make it, I guess, a tighter fit. Well, that's in theory anyway. There we go. So it's all, there's no gaps there anymore, as you can see this side. Once you put that other guy in there, it will squash it all together and hopefully make it a much better fit. That's got 4 in the front and the rear 4 screws there. I'll do this one to the front and I'll finish the rear off, and that's that step. Now the steering rod that connects to the left and right needs to be underneath. So use the same screw there. Make sure you don't tighten these up because these need to have a bit of give so they can pivot. One goes on either side. Doesn't say to screw this one, but definitely does need it because, you know, this manual is not the most correct. So you kind of just put these guys in there and don't bite all the way, because if you bite all the way it's going to bind up and that won't be able to move. So there's the front one, and the last step for the front, you have the steering rod that connects from here to the servo itself. So this guy just goes like that. So when the servo is turning this way, it's going to be moving that guy left and right. We'll cap that off with another screw, and that's the front one done. Same thing, don't over tighten these guys. There we go. So that is all done. As you can see, it's all working as it should. Not too bad, I guess. And just pay attention to when you're doing the rear housing there that everything is the same direction. When I mean, you have to make sure you put this particular part here that holds the links in the right way, otherwise it won't work. Or sorry, not the links, that's going to join to the bottom of the suspension, just like that. So that's just got to be the right way. So that's it. That's sorry, that's that step done. Next up, we have to join it all together to the chassis. So here is the front links itself, and they just kind of sit on just like that. They kind of have a kind of a snap fit on there, but you also need to lock it off with two, one on either side of these screws here. Remember, like the steering mechanism, don't over tighten these guys because they'll bind up and they won't work correctly, and you might get a lot of binding issues and your suspension won't work. So just enough so it does pivot. You can always just use a normal screw, like a hand screwdriver, or you don't need to use a drill like I'm doing. It's just, it is what it is. I just find it much quicker when I'm using one of these guys. And there we go, put that in, done. I could actually back them off just a tad so it's a little bit more freer. There we go, just like that. And obviously the back will be the same as this, but there we go there. Now this whole unit will obviously need to marry up with the chassis here. It's a little bit tricky to do on camera, but once it started, happy days. So that's that side done, and I'm going to jump in the gun a bit, but I'll presume that that's going to go like that. Now before you set up the other links, you want to connect the telescopic drive shaft. Simple as that, nothing to it. And here's our other links we need to connect to the front there, and just like that, we also need to finish it off with a screw, just like that. There we go there, and now we can hook up the shock just like that and lock that away with a screw, and basically that is how it's going to be on all corners, obviously. Done. So there we go. There is our little weak 4-link suspension there. So kind of works pretty cool. I'll get the front all done up and the back as well because it's exactly the same. Okay, there is the lower chassis all done, all completed. And next video I'm going to find a different motor maybe, and I've got to find an ESC. The servo I guess I could use that comes in the kit. It's not the greatest, but it'll get me out of trouble. Now anyway, as you can see, everything works. Seems pretty good, even though these aren't oil-filled shocks. It's not too bad. It's definitely better than the military truck, that's for sure. Next step. Okay, next step is installing the rear bed here. It's got this pretty sweet, like it is real, I guess, plated aluminium or steel, imitates checker plate, and also we have a spare tyre that goes on the back. Yes, you can use it if you stuff one of the other ones up, and it does include this little tyre mount there. It's got a certain angle, so it kind of sits just like that. So we need more number 1 screws and one number 2 screw to hold the tyre down on to that mount. That's what I meant about that angle of that mount, so it's in the correct way. The tyre is kind of lifted up at the front and facing off to the back. There we go. That kind of looks really pretty scale actually, and that just sits on there, and lock that off with a screw, and that is that particular step done. It's yeah, getting there. Alright, next up I'm going to start working on the body of the truck itself. A lot of these are just press fit in, but there are a few things that are held on via screws. So we'll get, this is what we need. Obviously we have the back of the cab here, and I think this, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I think it does look really scale. I think I've done a pretty good job nailing the design of the Hilux. I know it's been done to death, but hey, here's what it is. There we go. Simple as that. All we need to do is lock it off with 2 screws, and that's it. But before we do that, we've got to get the actual glass canopy, because that guy sits in there as well and locks it all together. So that's it. We'll get those 2 screws buttoned in there, and then we can put the dashboard in and the seat. Now the the dashboard and the seat and the lower half of it just snap in together, pressure fit. You do have a little steering wheel that I guess you can glue in, that just slips on in there just like that with some scar realism. And then all we need to do, this guy just goes in to the main cab here, and we use more screws to hold it in place just there. Make sure everything is nicely fitted in there. It's got like a little tab here that you want to push in. Done. That cab's not going anywhere. More number 1 screws, and that part's done. And then a lot of the stuff now are kind of pressure fit on there. You can always paint it up. I might do that later on, weather it up a little bit, but that's that part. So now we can start pressure fitting on all the little accessories, and there are a lot of them. So make sure when you open the bags that you don't just open it and fly out, because, for example, little indicators there, they're in the bag with the main glass there. So you don't want to just kick that out and fly out. You can even see that it's been pre-painted like an amber colour to kind of give it that orange look for a side mirror there, or for a blinker. There we go there. Done. Side mirrors, and these are all like of a flexible rubber plastic material, and you could always glue them on if you want to make sure you're not going to lose them if you roll it. There we go, just pressure fit everything on there. Windscreen wipers, and you do also get a spare set of bits and pieces, like get one extra windscreen wiper, one extra one of these, door handle, stuff like that. You get 2 door handles actually, but there we go. You don't have to put these on if you don't want to, but just showing you what you get. Actually, yeah, that's it. Now, the only parts you need to screw on to this are the side steps. So that's how everything looks when it's all put together. Now we've got to attach some of the other parts and put it on the chassis. It's getting there. Okay, now we can move on to installing the rear bed onto the chassis. Simple as that. It's got these tabs here that line up. Put the suspension through the tops there, and it keys in down there. Pretty easy stuff. Now some of the screws that it says is a bit confusing, but I'll just use whatever I want to use, I guess. These ones here on the side, definitely have 2 more of those, so we use them. But yeah, it's getting there. If you've done this without filming, you can get it done within, I reckon, 45 minutes. Easy. Easy, easy, easy. I haven't seen many videos of this particular kit version. I've seen many of the ones that are pre-built and running, but not this one. It's all buttoned up. We also need 1 screw right from that cross member. 1 more screw in the back there. That's that part done. So the bed is on. The truck itself just sits on and is held on by the screws at the front. You can see the holes just there, and they're going to go into the bottom of that part there. Pretty easy stuff. Pretty easy maintenance as well. There's not much to it. There we go. So yeah, 2 screw holes there holding that front bumper on, and you have another 2 here as well holding it to that plastic shelf. So I have another video as well, hopefully updating the electronics and seeing what we can do to make it much more reliable. At least it does come with a servo, not just an on and off motor like the truck ones do. That's a big plus for me. I hate those left and right motors that just turn on and off. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. It's for the military truck. I changed that out and it works so much better now. It's like a different truck. I don't know how much more seriously it'll cost just to put that extra sort of servo in there, but anyway. Done. That is on. Nice and steady, and it does also have those light buckets there where you can put the included LEDs in there as well. And I forgot to mention it also includes a variety of servo horns. And just notice that I made a mistake. This body tab was over the top, so it was sitting above it, and I just clicked it back down. So just make sure that you put the body on first and then you sit the bed on top, so it's over that, just like that red tab, because when this guy goes on, it's going to fit in there nicely into that little groove. So there we go, that requires, there we go. Fix this last one up. Cool thing about this, it does have a battery cover. It actually conceals a battery, so obviously this kit you need to get your own battery, but you got this little hatch here which is really cool. So it kind of just sits in here. I'll just get it the right way, that would help. It's like that, and you just kind of, it's kind of like a little pivot. It's got these little hinges in here. Aha! So that's pretty neat. There you go, so it's got like a little scale toolbox, and you want to get to your battery, you just kind of lift it up on that little hinge. That's pretty ingenious. It's got a fair space in there for a decent little LiPo battery. And here you go, lock it down, hook it down, and it latches away. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Look how that's actually getting really nice. And it does also include this roll bar which just snaps on just like that. You can always put LEDs in there because it does have the holes ready for you to install. Now, not much left but to install the wheels and tyres onto the truck. Now, I haven't glued these on at all yet. You can do that if you would like, but it's easy. Put these guys on and you use the longer screws that are included. Knock them away. Ha! There we go, all done. I like it. Last thing, can't forget the toe shackles, and they just go in the front and snap on here. Sorry, can't forget the toe shackles, that's the last thing. They just snap on to the front bumper there, just like that. And lastly, there we go. Ha! Pretty cool. You do get a selection of spares left. Got all these screws down here. But I think that looks pretty cool if you ask me. But yeah, I like it. And yeah, so coming up, I'll definitely get some electronics for it. I might include or use a stock servo that you get with the kit. Maybe even the motor, but I definitely need to source a decent, well, the wheels are a bit funky. There we go, the tyres just on a bit crazy. I definitely want to source a good ESC and maybe even steal the unit from here that I installed later. But there you go, that's the difference. Very, very similar. Matter of fact, it's a little bit shorter wheelbase, this guy here, than the military truck. But yeah, there we go, it looks pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think. Link is in the description. If you haven't, please subscribe. Heaps of videos coming up in the channel, that's for sure. And I'll definitely be posting another video of this in the near future where I get some electronics in there. And I wonder if you can actually source some different, see the tyres on, there we go. The wheels, sorry, the tyres on the rim properly. Maybe some different axles, like metal axles or something like that, to make it really, really strong. But there we go, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.